I am Jeff Foxworthy, and welcome to Gamekeeper Podcast. If you want to learn more about farming for wildlife and habitat management, then, buddy, you are in the right place. Join the Gamekeeper crew direct from Mossy Oak Land Enhancement Studio as they discuss the latest wildlife and habitat management practices, news, and, of course, hunting. There's no telling what you'll learn, but I'm going to tell you, I bet it's interesting. Enjoy.
We're live in 3, 2, 1.
All right, guys, this is going to be a really fun one. We're in the hot dog days of summer.
Yeah, it's pretty steepy out there right now.
Yeah, what are you going to do when it's so hot outside?
Mid-July, and we were under a heat warning, so the next 6-8 weeks are probably going to be really
we'll have those heat indexes or indices, however you say it properly, Dudley. And is that what I don't either. I just hear the weatherman say it. So nonetheless, it's going to be hot. 110, I think.
I don't know. The hotter than I want it to be. But
yeah. So.
We're going to talk about bow fishing. And this is a great thing to do in the summertime. And there's probably, it's probably got a wider window than just the heat of the summer. But let me get them introduced. So we've got Ricky Flynt here on the left. Ricky is the executive director of the Mississippi Outdoor Stewardship Trust. He is an executive.
An executive. And an old friend of ours.
We think of him as the alligator guy.
Yeah, we do.
Welcome, Ricky.
Head proprietor of the Flynt Roost and Grill.
Hey, it's good to be here. Follow y'all every week.
Oh, thank you. I told you somebody was listening, Bobby.
Always interested in what y'all have got to talk about, and just tickled that we're able to bring my good friend Brad Baugh in to talk about bow fishing, because this guy, he's got it down, and it's been a blast knowing this guy and getting to be involved in bow fishing, and it's just a lot of fun.
Yeah. Well, look, let's get him properly introduced in the horn. We got Dr. Brad Baugh, who is, if I'm correct, is an OBGYN over in the Mississippi Delta. And he is on call at the moment. On the other side of the wall from him are 3 ladies that have no idea.
They're holding off having their child till we get through this podcast.
He asked him, could you please hold off
wait a
minute. And so, but look, Ricky sends me pictures all the time. These guys are killing
wearing them out.
So many carp.
Yes.
I'm scared he's going to get in trouble with somebody. And he's killing these giant ones. Huge.
We're not in trouble with anybody. The bass fishermen love us. The skiers love us. And more importantly, those people that don't like invasive species love us.
Yay. So. Hit the horns on that one.
Well, that's exactly what leads us into this conversation. Mm-hmm. But before we do that, guys, Brad, I'm looking at you. Can I ask you an OBGYN question?
Oh, gosh. Here we go. Yeah, he's been working on this one a while, Brad.
It probably doesn't have anything to do with the full moon.
Yeah.
So let me ask this. So think from your perspective, right now, our deer are having babies out there in the woods. How amazing is it that a mama doe can silently go find a place, quietly give birth, not make any noises, then lick and clean up that baby and get that baby to walk away with her to go hide it somewhere? How amazing is that?
That's absolutely amazing. And we take it for granted in the animal kingdom because although most of us will talk about adults, and specifically adult males who have wives and have actually witnessed our wives go through the birth of a human. We think, it makes it even more amazing to see the animal kingdom go through this. And to think about a doe having a fawn is no different than a mother having a baby. But she has to do it silently. She does it with no help. She does it in the middle of the woods where it's dirt and grass and sticks and rain and wind and cold and hot. So it makes it pretty amazing that they can do this and a baby can survive. So to me, it's pretty amazing.
It is a miracle. Every one of them, I'm sure. Yeah, you get to see them all the time. That's right.
Yeah, it is.
We take it for granted. And we're talking about, y'all mentioned deer specifically. We take it for granted as we do have wildlife management. We have, we worry about numbers, and we worry about does, and we worry about bucks, and we worry about buck to doe ratios. And we forget about the miracle of birth that happens, hundreds and hundreds of times out there in the woods every year. So
Yeah. So, Brad,
Pretty amazing.
It is.
before I ask my next question, I'm going to caveat this. Is your wife going to possibly listen to this?
Oh, God.
Oh yeah, I'm sure I'm gonna send this to my whole family. So.
Yeah. Okay. So
They're
I'm not going
the
to.
only ones that are going to care, I'm sure.
Yeah, I'm not going to ask my next question. Then I'm going to pass on that one.
Probably a smart idea, Bobby.
Yeah.
So let's get down. How did you guys meet up? Y'all are kind of two different guys, but y'all have a fast friendship. It's obvious.
So back in the old days, when alligator season started in 2005, we went in 2006 for our first year, and you had to go to class, and you had to go to Turcotte to check in at the reservoir and to check out. And the very first year that we went, we got this idea to make T-shirts. And we were one of the first crews that made T-shirts, and we gave Ricky a T-shirt because he was there checking us in. And we did that. And our very first year, we gave it to him, and he actually gave me his number. And that was important because I called Ricky Moore the very first year, and we caught this alligator that was legal, and we were excited about it. And we had to be back at the Turcotte by midnight. Well, we shot at about 11:30 p.m., and we got him in the boat way after midnight, and we were easing up to get to the ramp, and this boat approached us, and the light came on. The blue light came on. And unfortunately, there was 9 people in my vessel. And Ricky approached our vessel, and I said, "Hello, Mr. Flynt. It's Brad Baugh. We met earlier." And that was the second time we met.
That, as I might describe, that vessel didn't have a whole lot of freeboard left in it, which was my probable cause for getting them to stop by activating the blue lights. And during the process, me and my fellow officer, Officer Tracy Tullis from Warren County, was with me. And we checked all their gear and everybody's licenses and permits and stuff like that. And then we checked the boat registration, and we were looking to try and figure out, are we going to have to write these people a citation from being overloaded on this vessel? And we started looking for the placard on the boat that would give us the capacity of the vessel. And then Baugh explained to us that this was not a manufactured boat. It was a commercial produced boat. And thankfully, Officer Tullis, who's very schooled on law enforcement and has a brain of an elephant when it comes to memory of things, he knew how to calculate the capacity of that vessel off the top of his head. So we measured the vessel length and the vessel width and came up with what the Coast Guard approved capacity was, which did exceed the number of people in the vessel. So we did not have to write him a citation.
Plot twist.
Good
in
deal.
In our defense, we had 2 boats, and we couldn't get one of them to crank. And so we didn't go but at 200 or 300 yards from the ramp. I just piled everybody in my boat. We never got past idle. Everything was good.
Yeah. Hey, safety first, always.
Yeah, it is.
That's
Especially
how
when
we
you
met.
gator hunting. That's a great story.
Yeah.
I think I was at that school, at the Cleveland school. We were talking about that earlier with Ricky when the first year. It's good stuff.
How long has so the alligator hunt it's about to start here pretty soon, isn't it?
Yeah, Labor Day.
First Friday in August, last Friday in August.
Yeah, this is the 21st year.
Yeah.
Wow.
That's amazing. Yeah. Congrats to the state of Mississippi.
I wasn't there 21 years ago. I was the first year they opened it up in the Northeast.
Yeah.
So I think that
Probably
was
2013.
13.
13. Yeah.
How about that? All right. So let's turn the page. How did you guys get into the shooting carp to such a magnum degree?
So I've been bow fishing for a long, long time. You know, I grew up, I'm older than all of y'all, but I started bow hunting when I was in the 8th grade in 1980. And back then, you couldn't go down to a hardware store. You couldn't get bows. Some people you ordered them and you got them. There wasn't a Cabela's. A Bass Pro was just a dream out of Springfield. And so Dad and I got into bow hunting, and I had a PSE Phaser 2. That was I still remember it. I still had it till a couple of years ago when it disintegrated on the bow fishing boat. But I got one of those old spools and a old fiberglass arrow at some time in high school, and I would shoot carp and when I was bass fishing and everything, and it just wasn't that fun. And then in the late 90s, I'm actually from Central Texas, and a friend of mine, I went home to see my parents, and he invited me to go bow fishing with them. And these guys had changed bow fishing, and it became, we didn't have lights all over the boats like we did now. We had a spotlight, and you'd spotlight them, and someone would hold the light, and you'd shoot the fish. And that became fun. And so when I came back here, and when I moved here in 98, and I finally got enough money to get me my first boat, we started bow fishing with spotlights, and my old PSE Phaser 2 is what I started using. And that progressed into the boat that we described that we alligator hunted out of. And then that migrated into building a deck, and that migrated into putting lights on it. And those were old, high pressure sodium or HPS lights. And then that has migrated into LED lights. So it has just gradually gotten bigger. But the other thing that happened was we all grew up seeing common carp and buffalo. And then something happened in the Mississippi Delta, and that was the explosion of Asian carp with silver carp and bighead carp and grass carp. And then there's one more, a black carp, that we've never even seen. We can talk about that later. But that happened at the same time that we started getting into bow fishing. And it's fun shooting 10 or 15 pound common carp and 15 or 20 pound buffalo. But it's a lot more fun shooting 50 pound grass carp and bighead carp. And that caused our explosion of bow fishing into what we do today. So... Well, and Ricky becoming my friend in 2006, everybody thinks that Ricky's my friend through alligator hunting, and he's not. I mean, we met in alligator hunting, but we became friends duck hunting, and that's the other passion we have. And I bow fish from February until the start of duck season, and then we take duck season off, and then we start again.
There you go.
And Ricky started coming duck hunting with me, and then he started coming bow fishing because, we got to be friends, and that's what friends do. So
I started bow fishing back in the probably the early, I guess it'd be the late 80s, when I was at Mississippi State University. The federal agent at Knoxville Wildlife Refuge was a friend of mine. And he had gotten into bow fishing, but he never utilized a boat. He just walked up and down the creeks, and would shoot bowfin and gar, and it was a real trophy to actually walk up on a carp or something like that, or a buffalo. And so I had gotten involved in it, walking up and down the creeks on Knoxville National Wildlife Refuge in the summertime, and found it to be very fun. I had a little bit of bow fishing equipment, kind of like what he's talking about back at the time, but I had never experienced going out on a vessel at night with the lights and all that kind of stuff. And when Brad, mentioned to me that, that's something that he did, I was like, I want to experience that. And quickly got in on a trip with Dr. Baugh and a number of his friends. And let me just say, I mean, it's if you guys take him up on the offer to go bow fishing, I'm telling you, you're going to have a blast, because it's a Cadillac trip. All you got to do is show up. Brad's going to have everything ready. And when you tear stuff up, you just stand back. Brad will fix it, put it all back together, and you'll be back in business going again. You got all the lights, this big old deck. There's a generator on board. There's even a waterproof stereo system that connects to his phone by Bluetooth and plays some of the best 1950s, 60s, 70s, and 80s country music that you've ever
All right.
It's a
old
list.
country, baby.
It's a list that I don't know if it's ever repeated itself in the numerous times I've gone out. So you got the generator going, which is one of them quiet little Honda machines, but it's drowned it out by the volume of good quality vintage country music. Good old Waylon Jennings and Hank Jr.
This sounds like my kind of trip.
Sounds like a good vibe for sure.
Yeah, no doubt about
And
it.
the thing is, it doesn't bother the fish. I think they like country music.
Oh, yeah.
Certainly they do.
Lord have mercy. Well, hey, look, before we go any deeper, why don't we let Dudley ask them some rapid fires?
Yeah.
I can do that.
Yeah.
I was getting worried because we're getting into some of that stuff.
Yeah,
so.
rapid fire is brought to you by
Our buddies at Nutrient Ag Solutions.
That's right.
That's
right
right.
here.
Are you cold today? You got the
Well,
nutrient-
my coworker Vandy has a wall in his office that is not insulated, so we have to turn the air down to 50 to keep him comfortable every day. So,
No, that makes sense.
I just put on this hoodie and it works, and I like Nutrient.
yeah, we
So-
do like Nutrient.
But maybe we'll insulate that wall someday, and then we can keep our AC at a normal level, like normal people do.
We do. We're going to do that as soon as we fix the roof.
Hey, Dudley.
Yeah.
Dudley, you're not like the women of this world that think that if you turn the thermostat down to 50, that it's actually blowing 50-degree air, do you?
I don't believe that. No.
Yeah. Okay.
And I also don't call it a hot water heater. It's a water heater. So, we could get into that stuff all day.
That's good, Dudley. I've never heard that.
So I'm going to ask both of y'all I'm going to ask the question once, and I'd love to get an answer from each of you. Okay.
All right.
Maybe Ricky can go first, and Dr. Baugh will go next. So are you guys ready?
I'm ready.
Yeah.
Southern rock or outlaw country? Come on now.
Since he's waiting, the answer is Southern
Outlaw
Rock.
country.
The answer is Southern Rock because outlaw country has changed. And
Okay.
if it's older outlaw country, yes, but new outlaw country sucks.
Yeah.
Okay.
What about
Let's
yacht
preface that
rock?
with vintage.
No yacht rock.
outlaw country.
Yeah, okay.
Vintage outlaw country.
There we go.
Pecan pie or banana pudding?
Banana pudding.
Banana pudding.
What would you consider worse, losing your sense of taste and smell or losing your sense of hearing?
I'm going to have to say taste and smell.
Taste and
Because
smell
you
because I don't
can at least sign to me.
I can't hear anyway, so
I knew that would be a good one.
I mean, how could the Flynt Roost and Grill function without taste and smell?
That exactly.
Yeah.
Okay, that's why I asked that. Where were you when you saw or ate your first boiled peanut?
Ooh.
I was on a dove hunt in Bruce, Mississippi when I was about 10 years old.
the diversion canal in the West Central Zone hunting alligators when Officer Flynt stopped me, and my son was the tag holder.
That's pretty
Yeah,
specific.
Ricky was
And
probably
he didn't get a ticket.
Ricky probably ate a boiled peanut when he came out of the womb. All right,
I was
next.
going to say it was pre 1970 for sure.
All right, where did you kill your first deer?
Menor City, Tallahatchie
City.
County, Mississippi.
Oh,
Home
yeah.
of the Cotton Bowl water tower.
No doubt.
That's
Just
it.
drove by it the other day.
Ocala, Texas, Bell County, Cloud Ranch.
Love it.
Nice.
6 years old.
What is your favorite non-crawfish item to eat at a crawfish boil?
Boiled shrimp.
Amen. Boiled shrimp.
All right. Is it crappie, crappie, white perch, or sac-a-lait? What did you use growing up?
White perch.
Crappie.
What about red ear, shell cracker, or chinkapin? What did you call it?
Shell cracker.
perch.
Perch. Okay.
They were all the same in Texas.
Okay. Green pepper vinegar sauce or regular red hot sauce on your greens?
Green pepper.
I don't eat greens.
Oh,
If you're making a
Sorry.
plate, here's a good one. If you're making a plate at a fish fry and make out a piece of largemouth bass, do you purposely avoid it and eat the brim, crappie, or catfish, or do you take one for the team and eat it so it doesn't go to waste?
Oh, I'm definitely eating the bass.
I'm definitely eating a bass.
all right.
Man, am I the only one that isn't a fan of bass? I'll quit that one. Would you rather have a full freezer of deer or a full freezer of mixed small game, fish, and birds, but no deer?
Ooh.
Oh, I'd go with the mixed small game, fish, and everything else.
Agreed. Mixed small game.
That's a great
My
question.
wife won't eat deer anymore.
And last but not least, if you had a choice, would you rather be in a large equity share hunting club in a game-rich area, or would you rather have your own place of equal value as the share all to yourself and immediate family?
I don't want anybody telling me what I can and can't hunt, when I can hunt, what size it's going to be. I don't need no bosses. I want my own place.
Amen. My own place. That is why I'm not in a club right now. That's why I hunt public land just like Ricky does.
That's cool.
Good job, guys. That
Yeah,
was
that's
good.
good.
Well, hey, did y'all hear Brad say that his wife doesn't eat deer meat anymore? What happened there?
The year we got married, I don't know if y'all know, but most people don't have a whole lot of money when they get married. And I was in medical school getting very, very much in debt. And we ate ramen noodles like everybody else. But I killed, this is in Texas now. The first year we ate 7 deer, all the wild turkeys that we killed. And then my dad gave us his, and all the fish we could catch. And after one night, she was making venison hamburger helper, and she got really sick, and she determined that the venison did it. And from that day forward, she hasn't eaten another bite. And that's been 34 years ago. So,
Okay.
Negative aversion, conditioned learning.
correct. So, and that's okay. I didn't say I didn't eat it, but we don't have it on a regular basis at the house.
Yeah. Well, that totally makes sense.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah.
All right, let's talk about carp. These guys got a schedule to go up. Mac, I'm going to look at you for some questions too, but I'll throw out the first one. So if a guy wants to get into bow fishing, what equipment does he need? Does he need to get a whole new bow and weight, poundage? Can you kind of go over the equipment?
Okay. So you got to remember, bow fishing is new. When my boat, when it was built, you couldn't go down to Bass Pro and buy a bow fishing boat. You could. Now there's, Bass Pro has several models. There's other builders that have models. There's people that build things, but the same thing with bows. Now you can get on your anything, and there's people that make bow fishing bows, and that's what I own, a bunch of them. But back in the day, I used my old PSE Phaser 2 until it exploded. All the bows that I have, I've always had bows for everybody to use, but I would go to the pawn shop and buy whatever I could get. But you don't want a 75-pound bow. You want small bows. And these big old hunting bows, the Bears, the PSEs, all these things, that were powerful. You can't turn them down low enough to bowfish with, because they would blow an arrow right through the fish and into the next county. So you had to have smaller bows, older bows that you could turn down, and you can get them cheap at a pawn shop. And most people have old bows. People that hunted have old bows laying around that they can use. You can get a reel. You can get into it for $100 or less if you have an old bow. You don't have to go spend $200 or $300 or $1,500 for a nice bow fishing bow. You can get in it real cheap. The arrows, arrows are, they're durable, but they're not necessarily cheap. I mean, arrows with points, you're roughly around $10, depending on what point you use, what arrow you use, et cetera. But, you don't need a whole lot of them. You use the same one over and over again. You got to have spares because lines do break. You do lose an arrow. You do break one rarely, but you can get in it really cheap.
So when you were talking about the poundage and reducing that, I never even thought about that. So, what is that poundage range you found is ideal?
Well, I'm a little different than a lot of people. So when we're bow fishing, we'll talk about that, I'm sure. But what you're shooting matters. When you're shooting gar, if you're talking about these little short nose and spotted gar that are floating around that you could shoot by the hundreds, and I take people out that want to shoot numbers. They want to shoot as many as they can shoot. So you don't want much poundage, because if you have, something over 25, 30 pounds, it's going to shoot the arrow through it. And that's okay. It's still attached to the line, but you have to retie the arrow and everything, and it's a real pain. But if you're shooting 50-pound grass carp or 200-pound alligator gar, you want a lot more poundage, because you got to drive the point through that armor to get it into the fish. All right. So, I'm shooting 45 to 50 pounds on my bow, but I'm not shooting very much. I'm just shooting big fish, and everybody that's with me, theirs aren't up that high because they're shooting everything that moves.
So you got a variety of setups depending on actually what fish you're after.
Correct. And at different times of the year, right now in the summertime when it's hot, these fish are soft. And that the biologists would probably argue with me, but in reality, the fish are softer, and that it's easier for the arrow to go through them. And it's easier, more importantly, for the arrow to pull out, because it can pull flesh and everything out. And so you don't want as high a poundage.
And you don't have to come to full draw if you choose.
Correct.
If you're
bow fishing bows are designed to short shoot. So a compound bow that you shoot deer with is not. If you have to pull that thing back and let it cam over before you shoot it. If you don't, you risk the wheels, the cables coming off. All right. So you can short shoot them, but they're not designed that way. Most of these bow fishing bows don't have cams, so they don't cam over. It's the same poundage. You don't have a let off like you do with. And so they're set around. Mine are all set around 30 to 35 pounds. Some of them are a little lighter. I have 2 or 3 that are really light for little kids to shoot or women to shoot.
I shoot the kids one because it's
there
short.
You go. Well, I know. I mean, it seems like when the bow fishing thing really started getting fired up, a lot of people were shooting Onida, which doesn't have a cam or wheel of any kind on it.
Well, it actually does, but Onida, the Onida Osprey is the ultimate in bow fishing, and all the AMS folks and the Cajun folks will argue with the Onida folks. But Onida's been around a long time. They were a funky looking bow that everybody laughed at, and all the northeastern people shot these deer hunting, and they came up with the Onida Osprey, and it's designed for bow fishing. It has stainless steel, everything on it. And I got one 20 plus years ago that was from the original. And then John Paul Morris, the Bass Pro heir apparent.
He loves bow fishing.
When he was at Ole Miss, he got to be friends with a friend of mine that lives in Greenwood, and he got into bow fishing, and of course he had the Bass Pro behind him, and he bought that company and moved it to Springfield, and they are making Onida Ospreys now, and they're not the same, but they are better. And I have one of the newer ones as well.
What about the line? Is it braid that you're tying to? And I'm assuming it's a fiberglass arrow.
It's a fiberglass arrow with a point with some sort of
this kind of deal
barb on it.
Yeah.
All right. There's different kinds of barbs. There's mechanical ones. There's mainly just 2 barbs that go in and hook the meat and the fish. It's attached to a braided line, and they have many different kinds. There's narrow ones. There's thicker ones. They're made out of Dacron. They're different materials. And then there's the reel, and there's basically 2 different types of reel. Bottle reels, which the line is clamped between two wheels and basically stuffs the line into a bottle. And so when you shoot, it's just free lining out. And the other one is basically a spinning reel like an old Zebco. All right, except these Zebcos are not your daddy's Zebcos. All right, these are made for bow fishing, and they are heavy duty. They've got metal pins in them. They've got big, huge openings, and they hold some really heavy duty line. So when you shoot, it'll spool out. And I use one of those. Most of all the rest of my guest bows, I call them the ones I loan people, are bottle reels, simply because it's harder to learn to shoot that one, and people don't shoot all the time like I do.
They forget to push the button.
Oh,
If you don't push the button, it's a problem.
That's a problem. That's right.
And so, it's just easier for bottle reels, and they're much easier to work on. And I have to work on a lot of rows and arrows and reels. And so, that's the difference. But the line is attached to that. And
yeah.
So.
And are you wanting a complete pass through, or just,
Okay. No, you do not.
You just want just enough to get through the other side? Correct.
Because it's easier to take them off, especially when we're shooting a lot of number fish. Okay.
Right.
When we're shooting big fish, like this time of year, like I'm just like trying to get through the next 2 days, because this weekend I'm bow fishing all weekend, and I know it's going to be hot, and I know I'm going to shoot some 50-pound grass carp.
Mm-hmm.
And on those, I want it to pass through.
Gotcha.
Because if it passes through, he ain't coming off.
Right.
Because the arrow's going to turn sideways. And so when I daytime fish, I do bow fish alone a lot, because I do it when I can. If I get a time off in the week, I'm going, and I'm usually by myself. And so I want them to pass through, because it's harder to get a second or third arrow into a big fish.
There's also the infamous headshot.
Ah.
Oh, yeah.
Old stinger, huh?
Yeah.
Float them on up.
I do say this, that when I'm by myself, or even when I try not to show off when I'm with people like Ricky and other people, but the headshot is the preferred shot. The preferred shot. And
so when you do on those big carp, are you actually using the reel, or are you hand lining? Are you holding the bow and reeling, or are you hand lining?
Yeah, you're not fighting them like you are a regular fish or an alligator. You can't. The bottle reels, you can't fight it with it. Now, we're just basically reeling it in and letting the fish tire out and keeping the slack out. But eventually, you're going to have to hand line it.
Mm-hmm. If it's a big fish, if it's one of those big grass carp or a big bullhead, that's one of the exciting parts of it. Like for me, in the bow fishing that I had done back in the late 80s and the 90s, I doubt I ever shot a fish that was much over about 12 pounds or so. You go out with Brad and you shoot one of these 40, 50-pound grass carp. It's a whole different ball game. They take off. I mean, it's the race is on, and
the arrow dance.
Yeah, and you gotta, if you don't know that you got a good pass through, then you're holding the line with your hand, and you're trying to kind of act like a drag on a reel. You're trying to give the fish a little bit, but also put a little tension on it to get him back. And you know that if that fish is fighting really hard and you're trying to pull him back, you're going to pull the arrow out, even though you have those fishing barbs on. So that's part of the game of it. That's part of the fun of it is fighting the fish. And a lot of times, we try to double up. You shoot one of those 50-pound carp. As soon as you get another opportunity, that fish comes by, the partner next to you is trying to put another arrow in it to have, dual lines on the fish to be able to get it in.
Oh,
yeah. So this is really, I've never really done this before. The one time I did it, I was really young, and I used my full weight bow, and I shot it, and the arrow just kept going. And I never bought another arrow. So, but how do you aim? Don't you aim under them a little bit?
So it comes into physics, and if the fish, where you see the fish, it's not there due to the refraction of light going through water. So the fish is actually lower than you actually see him. So you have to aim under the fish. And the deeper in the water he is, the lower you have to aim. And when they're really deep, you really got to aim low. And people ask me all the time, how low do you aim? And I say, I can't tell you.
It's just instinctive.
I'm pretty good at people who've never done it before standing next to me. And I can, when they draw back and I see the fish in the water, I can tell them lower, 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 and let go. And they can hit it most of the time if I'm helping them, because I've done it enough. But that's in shallow water. But in deep water, I just tell them aim at least a fish height or more under.
Anybody that got into bow hunting back in the early days, when you were using recurves or long bows and no sights, no pins and things like that. And you learn to instinct shoot. Mm-hmm. Anybody that has that kind of experience will usually do very well bow fishing because you're not using pins. You're not really sizing up on anything. It's just a natural position of the draw and knowing where your arrow is pointed. You're not really looking at your arrow. You're looking at the fish, and you just get a feel for where to aim. And and Brad works with folks like that. Every shot, he'll tell you, you're high, you're low, you're a little bit left. But you learn after a few shots, and you'll get it down, and you'll soon get the feel for it.
So people that do the best are people who have never bow hunted or never even shot. My best people are women that come out because
naturally better shooters.
But women listen, number one, and men. I'll give you a brief example. I took a bachelor party out for a friend of mine's son about a month ago, maybe two, whenever, and 4 of them were outdoors people. One of them was a city boy. He'd never seen a deer. He'd been on a boat skiing once. He had never caught a fish in his life. We may have shot 30 or 40 fish, and he shot over half of them. And he had the time of his life because he listened, and he didn't have any preconditioned idea about how you're supposed to shoot a bow. Mm-hmm. And those people do so much better. The worst people are bow hunters because, I was a bow hunter too. I've shot plenty of deer with my bow, but the problem is they're used to using pins and releases, and they're not used to the target moving, and they're used to aiming at the target. They're not used to aiming under the target, and it's really hard for them to do this. They get very frustrated very quickly.
Doesn't sound like there's any peep sights in this whole process.
That's right.
No.
It is more raw,
Yep.
It really
when I
is.
started all this, I had bows. I had old, those old pins that you'd get, the old timey ones. And I had peep sights on there to try to help people. And it didn't take long. I took all that stuff off, and people got so upset because they couldn't figure out how to do it. And I said, you're going to have to learn. And they learned. Mm-hmm. And that's just the way you have to do it. It doesn't work any other way.
So when you guys are going through the swamp and lights on and you see a big carp, 50-pound carp, are y'all stalking that carp and maybe you spook him? Can you continue to stalk him until you get up there and get a shot at him?
No, not at night. They're not hanging around this tree. They're not coming back. They're a fish. So, at night is different than daytime. Daytime, yes. I love daytime more than I like night home. I love night because people get to come out and have a good time, and that's what gives me my joy now. But if it's me, I'm going to daytime to spot and stalk these big fish. And yes, you see them, and yes, you're quiet, and there's a log jam here. We got to ease around the log jam, and yes, you can do that. But at night, when you see him, you got to get to him and shoot him because he's going to be gone.
A lot of the difference is, during the night, it's just a happenstance of coming across and the paths crossing. The fish are moving around and the boat is moving around and the paths cross and they come into the light and you get a chance to shoot at them. That daytime grass carp fishing that he's talking about is those grass carp are out there feeding a lot of the times. And Brad talks about this when we go, we may get out there at 10 o'clock in the morning and we always know that for every minute we're there, conditions are getting better. The peak of sunlight, the direction of the sun being directly overhead or slightly behind you is the best condition because those fish begin to feed. They become closer to the surface, and you'll actually see those carp up at the surface, and you see that mouth action, and you can actually hear it at a distance. You hear them popping that water, and that's what Brad talks about. Then it becomes a stalk. You heard the fish, you see the motion in the water some distance away, and you design a path to put yourself over there in position to get a shot. And that's where those headshots come in. That fish is out there actively feeding, and you're aiming to put it right through the center of their mouth, and it's usually a kill shot immediately.
Interesting. I would have
ready to
thought. I would have thought it would have been better at night. I don't know.
Yeah, I did too.
Well, it depends on what you're after. I mean, if you guys come, we could do a daytime thing too, but you're going to like night because you see so many fish. And when we go at night with my regular crew, it's been doing this with me for a lot of years. My good friends, we're not going to shoot gar. I mean, if I take a new crew out, we may go where there's a bunch of gar where they can just shoot till their arm falls off. But we're looking to shoot bigger fish, and I do take some orders from some friends of mine who they're having a fish fry and they want a cooler full of buffalo, so we're going to go kill some buffalo for them.
One trip I do remember that's totally different than all these we described was, do you remember, this was probably back around, I don't know, probably could have been around 13, 14. And we all decided, we made a pact that everybody in the boat was going to shoot an Asian carp while it was airborne behind the boat. So the method became a little different. You put the boat on a real slow idle and pushing a wake. And the idea was to get those silver carp to jump and get airborne. And before the night was over, I can't remember if we had 5 or 6 people in the boat that night, but everybody was successful at arrowing a silver carp while it was airborne that night.
On the wing, yeah.
That's pretty
impressive.
Yeah.
And that's fun. They like to put that on TV a lot, and you'll see that on a lot of these shows where they're shooting those carp. And I'm all about people having fun, but you shoot one in the air, and it's like, well, we did that now. Yeah. Let's move on. And that what they don't show you is the fact that people get hurt doing that because those carp are jumping behind the boat, and you're going slow enough that you get hit. I mean, I've been knocked unconscious 4 times now in that boat, and that wear your safety thing.
Yeah,
life jacket.
Wear your kill switch and your life jacket. But it is not fun getting ahead, and we have quit doing that because I got tired of getting hit in the head, and I had too many arrows ricochet off the cowan of my outboard.
Brad has actually done surgery on one of his guests from an Asian carp.
Oh, wow.
Yeah,
you got to tell that story.
It split his lip. We were alligator hunting, and we were actually headed back to the ramp, and it's 2 or 3 in the morning, and he caught him right in the mouth, and it split his lip like you'd taken a pair of scissors and cut right up into his nostril. And so he got to hold a rag on it till we drove all the way back to Cleveland, and I sold him up in the gynecology clinic at 6 in the morning. And put his lip back together. He went fishing with us a couple weeks ago. Ricky came. He looks good. He looks great.
You did a fine job.
A gynecologist is a handy person.
No doubt about it. Yeah.
I have more men that list me as their gynecologist than you would imagine.
I bet so.
Dudley needs a good gynecologist.
He does need a good
Well, I mean, I used to live in Cleveland, but I moved away, so I guess we missed each other.
Mac, you got a question?
Right.
Yeah, I've definitely experienced the jumping Asian carp, and I mean, is that just from the humming of the motor that causes
it's the vibration. You can do it. The reason I know it's a vibration, they'll do it in shallow water with the generator. But, you can also I'll show people sometimes when we know. I'll just stand on my deck and jump up and jump real hard, and that'll make them jump as well. But
I mean, it's just
they'll jump with the move of the water, as you're traveling down the water, and then the boat makes a wake. It causes the water to kind of move a little bit, and that's why you see so many jumping behind the boat. But they also, like Brad is saying, they sense the vibration of the boat as it's traveling down the water, and they jump ahead of the boat, and that's where the real danger is that they may jump while you're in a boat doing 35 miles an hour, and I mean, it seriously can be deadly.
Oh, yeah.
Wow.
I mean, they're as almost as bad as hogs. I mean, taking over the waterways.
They are absolutely worse than hogs from an ecologic standpoint, in my opinion. I mean, they have taken over the Mississippi River Basin from all the way up to all the way down, and if we don't come up with a way to minimize them somehow, and it's not going to be it's going to have to be some I can't shoot enough of them. I can tell you that.
Yeah, we
People
understand
don't
that.
understand until you get out there and experience the amount of biomass that you're talking about of these Asian carp, big head carp, grass carp, silver carp that are occupying the Mississippi River Basin. And they get in those oxbow lakes. And, when you get on the water, you go experience it for the first time. You've never been out there, and you see 20, 25 to 30 pound carp jump out of the water at the same time within 4 or 5 seconds. And then you think about how often you see that as you move along the waterway, and you think about that amount of biomass that's out there and how much of the phytoplankton that they are occupying to feed on, and the amount of impact that is having on the food pyramid out there in these waterways. It is substantial, and we don't know yet, what the impact of these invasive species are going to be on our native fish populations. They know it's impacting them now. Yeah. We just don't know how much it's going to.
It's got to be.
And the other thing you look at in the summertime, like right now, you get into some of these backwaters in the daytime, and you look out on the surface of the water, and there is not hundreds, there's not thousands, there is, hundreds of thousands of little bitty Asian carp that have hatched. And they're in, acres of them that are on top of the water. And you think, wow, these things are going to grow up, and they grow very fast. And we don't have enough native predators with to keep them out. The gar populations are just booming, just like alligators. Ricky's said it. All of us that hunt alligators know the one thing that's helped the alligators is the Asian carp, because it's given them plenty to eat. Well, it's also helped the alligator gar, which we see a lot of alligator gar up north here in North Mississippi that we didn't see when I first started all this. And the regular long-nosed gar, the spotted gar, the short-nosed gar, their populations have boomed too, and because they've got plenty to eat. But they're not controlling the Asian carp. There's no way.
Yeah, wow.
That's interesting, because I just assumed that they were taking over and there would be fewer fish. But it's almost kind of like
we're in the Mississippi Delta. That we have the most fertile soil in the world, and we have the most fertile oxbows in the world, and it's going to be awful hard for them to take over. And then every time it goes down and the water comes up, Mississippi River replenishes it. They're never going to be out of food.
Do y'all eat any of these? You mentioned the buffalo, but are any of the other ones edible, or do they have?
Well, I'll say this: there are people that eat them. There's been a lot of governmental agencies that have tried to encourage people to eat them and everything. But if after y'all come fishing and you smell some of these fish and you touch them, and I'd rather eat crappie.
There you go.
Well,
Notice he said crappie.
Yeah.
Not crab.
He did. Yeah, well, that was noted early on.
Yeah, I get it. And they're invasive. I guess, a lot of people do eat some of the, you see people talking about eating gar.
I've eaten gar.
The buffalo. Yeah. I remember growing up, you saw buffalo for sale all over the place, especially in the Delta.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I've eaten buffalo ribs, and they're good. It's just, you got to get the bone out, and I've eaten gar, and I will not eat gar again. I was at when I was at NDWFP years ago. There was a marketing group that came to the Department of Wildlife, Fisheries, and Parks office and did a demonstration of cooking various different ways of the silver carp, and I was there that day and was able to partake. And I will say, some of that fish was edible. And
notice he didn't say good.
It wasn't good.
Yeah.
And the fish that was good had to be prepared in a certain way, and you had to take special care of it. And if you're going to eat a silver carp, God bless you, because if you shoot one and see it after it gets in the boat and how its flesh just bleeds and the amount of slime that just gets over everything, and like Brad said, the instant pungent smell. But it just smells like rotten dead fish. I can't get over that aversion. Now,
I would want to make the biggest, most awesome compost pile.
Now that would work. Yeah,
that would be what I would want to do.
We know a lot about that.
A super mega compost pile.
Yeah.
So, guys, if our listeners, if you're not in Mississippi, so if you're over in Georgia, there are these grass carp. You might be a member at somebody might have a pond that stocked some many years ago to control the grass, and they've gotten so big, and they'd like to get those big ones out. So you can walk around or get in a boat probably and
wear them out. And I think and Ricky can validate this, after a certain few years, they're not as productive as they were when they were young.
I think that's right.
So they need to be taken out when they're older.
They don't eat as much.
They don't eat as much, and younger ones need to be replaced.
I'll tell you another way you can do it is during these big flooding events in the Mississippi Delta, and I'm sure in just about any waterway, flooding events that occur around agricultural areas, you can wade fish. We've walked out in agricultural fields when water got up. If it happens at the right time of year, you'll see those carp out there in those agriculture, their backs are basically literally sticking out of the water, and you're stalk fishing and waiting for them to come by. We have smoked them out in the middle of a fallow soybean or cornfield that got flooded at the right time of year.
Yeah, I was going to ask, and you just kind of answered it. What would be a good way for some noobs to get out there? You know, they don't have a huge boat. Maybe they don't even have a boat. But are there any particular scenarios like that where you can be more fruitful doing it from the bank? I
think the waterways where you have a man-made dam and spillway, where there's always a somewhat stable water level, like at Knoxville National Refuge, you had Lokefoma Lake and Bluff Lake that both had a spillway, and there was always some water coming through it. And even though it was a natural creek that went through the woods, you had above that dam spillway was this constant source of fish in a man-made lake. So fish were constantly moving through those spillways and getting downstream. And so you can always walk those banks. It's shallow. Usually you can walk across those creeks, but you may not. And you can shoot those areas is big one of the ways I would suggest.
So like a spillover dam, low head dam, eddies and things like that.
Right.
Absolutely.
All right, guys, look, they've got to go here in a second. Well, we did a trivia question specifically for you guys, and I'm going to turn it over to Mitchell now, our new. Well, Richie's
kind of new now.
Mitchell is learning the ropes over there. So
go ahead. I'll have to warn Travis out at Noxubee that there's going to be about 2 more people coming out there.
Yeah. So let's go walk some creeks.
Yeah,
I'm telling what you got that license and the refuge permit when you go.
Yeah.
All right, so the trivia question is brought to you by our friends at the Peanut Patch, which unless you've got Ricky's
you need these in your boat. If you don't have Ricky with you, you need these Peanut Patch peanuts in your boat. They're great. My kids love them.
Any gas station.
Yeah, that's right.
You can find them.
That's right.
Ricky's got a fabulous recipe for his own.
Yeah, Gator Goobers.
And he won't share it with
Gator
anybody.
Goobers, excuse me.
I'll share it with
you. All right, so go ahead, Mitchell.
Well, we got a trivia question here. So, user review winner is A. Mendel Hall 9019.
A. Mendel Hall 9019.
What does review say? You know what
Well, he loves the podcast. He listens to it every morning on the drive to work.
All right.
You got 7 a week.
Yeah, how about that? So he wins a pair of these new bones. In Bottomland, they're like camp house slippers.
Yeah, they're
really nice.
Yeah, they're camp, but they got a great sole on them, so they're great for use.
We're about to run out of these as prizes, guys. So,
did you set some back for us?
No, I did not. Not
Bobby,
for us, not for you.
Oh, you know how it is.
So, so the guys, if you leave a review, you got a chance to win some of these. Yeah. Go ahead, Mitch.
So the trivia question is, this U.S. president appointed a fish commission to choose a fish that people really liked to stock rivers in hopes to feed the rapidly growing nation.
Mitchell.
Boy,
Mitchell.
you think Ricky being the student, being the executive at the outdoor
And the
trust,
student of
you
the
think
fisheries,
he would know.
yeah.
I'm kind of giving Brad a little bit of a pass because he's
didn't
got
ask
his
him about
mind's full of OBGYN stuff.
Well, they did talk
Full
about
of fish right now.
Well,
Give us a hint,
you
Mitchell.
always want to gravitate to the Theodore Roosevelt because he was the president that is known for all of his conservation work. But I'm going to step away from Teddy Roosevelt and say it just might be Lyndon Johnson.
Wow.
Let me give you one hint.
That was my guess.
Let me give you one hint. He's got, and this is a surprise, he's got a library at Mississippi State.
This would be Grant.
That would be right.
Oh, look at that. They killed it.
Ulysses.
Huh.
Tell us
we go.
about it.
I didn't know this.
So,
If y'all not been to the Grant Museum, you need to go.
Ulysses S. Grant.
So in
Yeah.
1871, he appointed a commission to choose a fish that would grow rapidly, live pretty much anywhere, and people seemed to enjoy. Well, back that time,
And eat, of course.
they chose the carp, the common carp. So they stocked them in rivers all over the eastern area, just to try and be like, hey, our nation's growing rapidly. Let's stock it because it grows and they repopulate so fast in hopes to like feed the nation.
Yeah, food source. Interesting.
Well, people in Europe were so into carp. And
They're
I
still
think
in the
they
carp,
still
aren't
are.
they? Yeah.
It's a trophy fish
And
over
look,
there.
how many biological catastrophes have we created with that mindset of let's
100%.
introduce something into the environment that solves some other problem that in the end creates so many more.
There's a lot of cases for that. That's
Yeah,
for
it is.
sure.
It really is.
And I
Kudzu.
still see some of that happening.
Yeah, it still happens.
yeah.
They're like releasing some
Hey,
kind of
before
weird
we go,
mosquito now.
I know Bobby and I have texted back and forth numerous times, but I've got to give a shout out to my friend Rob Bishop up in New York State. I bet you he is arguably one of your best listening fans. I can't tell you how many times a week or a month goes by that he doesn't text me and say, hey, and tell me about a certain segment of one of your podcasts. And a lot of times it's, y'all mention my name or something like that. But he loves this. He loves this program. And I think Gamekeepers, obviously it's right here in Mississippi. And I know you get a lot of guests from Mississippi just because of the location. But
Yeah.
my goodness, y'all have got a great reach out there across the country and I'm sure across the world. But a lot of people are listening in and getting good information. It's a different type of atmosphere. It's a lot of fun, but congratulations to Gamekeepers and Mossy Oak for what you're doing. And I know I appreciate it, and a lot of others appreciate it. And speaking of wives, there's the Gamekeeper podcast is one of those shows that my wife will let me put on in the truck when we're traveling.
All right.
A good hour and 20 minutes discussion, and she joins in. She'll answer some of the questions.
How about who does she like the best, Ricky? Do you know?
Dudley, of course. It's always Dudley.
Probably
I don't let her
It's
look
always
at y'all,
Dudley.
so she might be a little biased just by your voice.
It's Dudley for sure.
Well-
Well, thank you for those kind words.
that really is
And it's
my
exciting to know people in New York are listening to us.
How about that?
Yeah, when we talk about it all the time.
I think he's got a son too that helps him manage a property. I think I've heard
Yeah.
the story.
Yeah, did we hit the horns for him? We did. All right.
Well, guys, have y'all got any questions for us? Brad, you look like a guy that has a lot of questions.
Nah, I'm pretty good right now. I don't have. I actually have listened to several podcasts. I just don't have time to listen to podcasts very often. If I drove more, then maybe I could have time to listen to podcasts. But I do enjoy what y'all do, and keep it up. Thank you for having
sir.
me today. By the way,
Yeah, thanks for being on. Appreciate both of y'all.
and you got my contact information. Holler at me. We'll go have some fun one day.
We're going to show up.
Yeah, we'll do that.
Yeah.
And Brad, please tell those ladies back there that are waiting on you.
They could go ahead and have their child.
We appreciate
Yeah.
that.
I've been watching it right here the whole time. We're good. I am still participating in their health care.
There you go.
Love it.
Well, the world is great to have doctors that you guys are. Brad, you're doing some great work over there. But when you're free time, you're out here enjoying the outdoors.
Yeah, that's awesome.
It says a lot.
Hey,
No, it does. And I love to hear
guys, if any of you guys have ever experienced the joy of a pregnant wife and the joy of childbirth, y'all know that OBGYNs are the king of procrastination. You can go a little longer. You can go a little longer.
I'm not going there. I'm not going there.
It is cool to know that, I mean, you get your free time and even, if it's just you, you're out there by yourself, getting after it. That's
I'll say this. I learned after Brad and I became friends, I was amazed after we shared a few meals together. I was like, wow,
oh, no.
God, this guy, he eats so freaking fast.
He got things to do.
Like if you're one of those guys that, let's say you get a steak, some people like to cut their steak up all into pieces, bite-sized pieces before they eat a bite. Well, if you're that guy, Brad has finished his steak, wiped his mouth clean, and has stepped away from the table before you get your steak cut up. But I learned, and my wife, retired in a hospital environment. She told me, she said, the reason why is because he doesn't have time to eat. And when he gets the opportunity to eat, he eats everything he can as fast as he can because he's got to get back to work.
So you could be out there on a boat about to go shoot carp and your phone ring and
No, I wouldn't do that. If I could, I would do that if I was closer to the hospital. But we're about 30 minutes or more to the lake, and then on the lake, and that's a little far for me to do that. And so I do not bowfish when I'm working or on call. But if I'm off and I have relief, I am.
His spare time is very valuable. And he utilizes every moment of it.
I make the most of my opportunities, and it's like I tell people, you're supposed to rest when you're off. And I said, I'll either rest when I'm on call or I'll rest when I die, because when I'm off, I'm going to make the most of my opportunity. So
Here. I love that.
it's a good way to live, right?
No
there.
doubt about it.
Yeah.
That's right.
Well, guys, y'all are great examples of friendship.
Yeah.
And enjoying the outdoor resource. And I think y'all made a really some good comments about these invasive fish.
Yes. Sure.
We don't know what's going to happen, but it can't be good.
No, we got to pay attention to it for sure.
But from the sportsman's side of this thing, do not let someone convince you that there's a good thing about them. I mean, we've got the snakehead has now become part of the picture with invasions, and they're finding out that the snakehead might be good to eat, and up in the Northeast, the snakehead might be a good game species that these bass fishermen and people can catch. And I'm like, there is nothing good about an invasive
No,
species.
and it's the same way with plants. Somebody may say a plant has a medicinal value or what. It's still an invasive species.
Exactly.
It's still wrecking the ecosystem.
Mm-hmm.
And by the way, Brad has a claim to fame. He was the person who documented the very first snakehead in the state of Mississippi.
Oh, wow. Hey, hit the horns for Brad again. Nice.
How in the world did that get here?
They came from, there was a farm that was raising them in Arkansas, and they get the snakeheads out. And the Arkansas Wildlife Commission, whatever they are, they actually poisoned the ditch to try to kill them all. But some of them escaped to the Mississippi River, and the first reservoir or whatever, oxbow south of where they came in on the White River was our lake. And so in flood of that spring, as we shot the first one, and it's been exponential since then. So
Okay.
Wow.
they get big very fast.
Goodness gracious. There's just so much going on with this invasive world.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
All right, guys. Ricky, thank you for taking time. Dr. Brad Baugh, thank you for taking time. And we
My
enjoyed
pleasure.
talking to y'all.
Thanks so much.
Always
good
enjoy
stuff.
it.
So, guys, the television show has
Yep,
started
television show
Tuesday
started.
nights on the Outdoor Channel. Last night was a great one. We had the one on duck migration up and duck pressure with Dr. Brad Cohen. That was really interesting.
It's good stuff.
And I know, doesn't anybody owe me a favor? But I promise you, we work pretty hard every week trying to pull these together. I would have personally appreciate it if you would share this with share one of these podcasts with a buddy. And if you're not following or subscribing, it doesn't cost you anything. Just follow and subscribe.
Yeah.
We'd appreciate it.
Yeah, that is exactly right. I was thinking about that today. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well,
If you see one you like, text it to your buddies.
Yeah, that's right. All right, Mac, what you got? Are you awake over there? All right.
we're good.
Looking around. I think that's it. Why don't you say goodbye, Dudley?
Goodbye, Dudley.
Get us out of here, Mitchell.
Thanks for tuning in to this week's episode of the Gamekeeper Podcast. And be sure to tune in again. Subscribe to Gamekeeper Farming for Wildlife magazine and don't miss the Mossy Oak Properties Fistful of Dirt podcast with my good buddy, Ronnie Cuz Strickland.